Now, I've heard people say that the roof is the most challenging part of building a house. But I tell you guys, if you are building a double-story home, the slab will humble you. It will test you. It will break your budget. It will test your patience and even break your spirit if you are not prepared. If you can survive the slab phase, I'm telling you, I think in my view, you can survive the entire project. This was by far the most challenging and emotional part of our building journey so far. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the final slab option that we went with, as well as our final costs. And then later on, I'll take you to site to show you how it all came together. Let's get into it. Hello guys, hello YouTube family. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another video. If you are seeing my face for the first time, my name is Melom Tiani and I'm documenting our real raw journey of building our dream home right here in South Africa. So if that is the kind of content that you like, please do subscribe to the channel guys. Please do comment on my videos if you do enjoy my content. Please like my videos. And guys, without wasting any more time, let's get into part 1 of the video, where I'm just going to share with you our slab choice and why the decision was very hard for us. Let's get into it. So after getting the initial quotes that I showed you in the last home building video, guys, you know what, I had a moment where I thought, you know what, maybe we dreamt a little bit too big. Maybe we cannot afford this. This is how intense, you know, the process was. Like I said, guys, the slab is where the real challenge is. For me, the numbers did not make sense anymore, and I was worried that we'd have to completely change our design or even compromise on important features. But yeah, my husband knocked some sense into me and said, you know what, we have to go with what we wanted from the beginning, and we have to do what is right for our design. So at this point, we knew that the ribbon block is completely ruled out, and you know, we actually started exploring the idea of appointing company B from the video where I showed you the quotations. Guys, I'll actually put a link of the video in the description box for those of you that didn't watch that video. You can just go back, because I'm not going to go through those numbers again, otherwise I'm going to bore those who watched that video. So we then started exploring the idea of appointing company B, but after a long conversation with our architect, because like I've told you guys before, you know, we always go through everything with the architect. I informed our architect that, okay, this is the slab company that we found, and yeah, after a long conversation, we decided not to appoint them. The reason why I actually even looked at company B and I asked them for a quotation was because they had done quite a lot of projects in and around Arrowland. So yeah, but yeah, after a long conversation with our architect, we decided not to appoint them. So yeah, guys, we were literally back to square one. We had to start afresh and look for a new slab company. But yeah, so while we were still checking around and looking for a new company, a friend of mine, because I'd been asking around, I'd been asking people who have done a similar type of slab. So a friend of mine told me about a nearby build that is using an In-Situ slab, and he told me that the guys are working there, and maybe you should go there and check out their work, because she actually stopped there after I told her that I'm looking for somebody to do our slab. So when she saw those guys working there, she stopped there and she checked out their work, and she says she was really impressed, and then she told me to go and check them out. So yeah, I went there and I checked out those guys. Guys, when I got there, I was so impressed. You know, the slab looked very professionally done. It looked clean and it looked like exactly what we needed. And that's when I met Henry. Henry is the guy that eventually did our slab. So that's when I met Henry from On Time Project, and that was the beginning of a game-changing conversation. At the end of the video, I will actually give you Henry's number. Guys, these guys are so professional. They take their work serious. You know, when they were doing the slab, they were working day and night. You will see later when I take you to site, those guys are so dedicated. And you know, with the decking that you hire for a specific period, they made sure that, you know, we don't go over that time. So yeah, guys, these guys are really hard workers. This is a company that I can recommend. So for those of you that might not know, an In-Situ slab is poured directly on site. It is built using temporary shutter boards and scaffolding, and then concrete is poured into the formwork. It is more time consuming than a ribbon block or precast slabs, but the key advantage is that it gives you full design flexibility. So we explored all the options, but none could accommodate the architectural features that we wanted. And like I told you before, our house design has a lot of cantilever sections that jut out beyond the lower walls. And those can't really be done properly, you know, using like a ribbon block slab. So the In-Situ slab became our only real option. And it was the only option that could give us the strength and versatility that we were looking for. So I provided Henry our engineering drawings, and he confirmed that he will be able to do the slab. But obviously at this point, I had already seen his work and I knew that, you know, his company is more than capable of doing the work. So he then referred me to a company called Nhleko Scaffolding and Formwork. So this is the company that he usually works with when it comes to In-Situ slabs. And guys, just like Henry's company, this company is just as professional and really takes their work as seriously as Henry's company does. So they provide the scaffolding system, the shutter boards, and the decking equipment that is needed for an In-Situ slab. So Nhleko sent me their quotation. It was a little bit on the hefty side, but I think you will see the value in it and you will understand why. So let me break it down for you. So this is the actual quotation we received from Nhleko Scaffolding and Formwork, and they provided us with a three-part cost breakdown. And part one was the formwork hire, the quick strip formwork system for 300 square meters at 24,262.50 per week. So we needed it for 3 weeks. So that worked out to 72,787 rand 50 excluding VAT. And then with VAT, it worked out to 83,705.63. And then there was a refundable deposit of 72,787 rand 50, which was to cover the risk of lost or damaged equipment. This is quite common in the construction space, especially when the equipment is specialized and of high value. And then part three was the transport, which worked out at 22,500 per trip, and that worked out to a total of 45,000 excluding VAT. And then with VAT, that worked out to 51,750 rands. So when you look at the code, the transport fee does seem a little bit high. But when you consider that, you know, this was for 23 tons of equipment transported over 153 kilometers from Kempton Park to Middleburg and then back, because they had to come back and then fetch the equipment again, then it does make sense. And then when you see the size of the truck, because I'm going to show you when they came and delivered the equipment, when you see the size of the truck in the slab footage, you'll actually understand how much heavy duty equipment was actually involved here. So I know some of you might be wondering, why didn't we just hire the equipment in Middleburg? But we did try to source the equipment locally, and most of the local suppliers only had like your standard scaffolding. Some of them had shutter boards, but they were not enough for the size of slab that we wanted to cover. Some had shutter boards, but they were damaged, and that would have meant that, you know, you'd find that the slab is uneven because of the shutter boards that are damaged. And then some of them didn't have like key components such as your double jacks and your ledgers, which are quite essential for this kind of slab work. So the last thing you want is for your slab to fall because you are trying to cut corners. What is that code? Your cheapest price might end up being your most expensive mistake. So yeah, guys, it was easy for us to go with Nhleko because they had everything that we needed for this type of slab. So yes, going back to Nhleko's quote, their full invoice came to a total of 208,243 rand 13 cents. Now I'll be honest with you guys, it was nice and everything doing the codes, but working with a new company can be nerve-wracking, especially where large amounts of money is involved. You're seeing that 208,000 rands figure and having to transfer it was so nerve-wracking. And I think it's because I've had a lot of friends that have been scammed by contractors or subcontractors. So I'm always cautious, where large amounts of money is involved. I can remember going online and checking Nhleko out and checking if they are valid. I went on to Hello Peter to check if there's any bad things that are said about them, and everything was just checking out. But yeah, I had to say a little prayer before I sent this money. But luckily, I can tell you today, after having worked with these guys are extremely professional. Their equipment arrived on time. They are reliable and they deliver to us exactly what they say they will deliver. So yeah, I think that, their equipment made the slab possible for us. And there was even a time where we're actually short of equipment, because I don't know if you saw in the quotation, we're actually quoted for 300 square meters, because on-time projects actually thought that the equipment will be enough, because usually they say if you hire equipment for the size of the slab, you find that there's equipment that is lying on the floor, and that is money. So they usually hire less than what is needed. So there was equipment that was short, and the guys brought it. They took out another truck, not as big as the first one, but yeah, they sent out another truck to bring us more equipment. Yeah, guys, I know there's always a risk where there is large money involved, but yeah, I'm glad that we took the risk. So after we secured the decking for our slab, the next thing that we had to secure was the reinforcement for the slab. And then I reached out to a company called NJR Steel, which is in Witbank or Emalahleni, as some of you will know it. And they supplied our reinforcement for the slab. And their quotation was as follows. So the steel weight is a total of 9,435 kilograms, and that consisted of 67 kilograms of Y8 bars, which amounted to 1,110 rand 91 cents. And then we had 7,351 kilograms of Y10 bars, which amounted to 121,287 rand 21 cents. And then we had 323 kilograms of Y12 bars, which were 5,474 rand 35 cents. Then we had 611 kilograms of Y16 bars, which amounted to 10,083 rand 22 cents. Then we had 151 kilograms of Y20 bars, and that was 2,489 rand 11. And then 644 kilograms of Y25 bars, and that amounted to 10,634 rand 9 cents. Then we had 278 kilograms of Y32 bars, and this was 4,591 rand 47 cents. So the total cost came to a total of 155,670 rand 36 cents without VAT, and then VAT was 23,350 rand 55 cents, which then totaled to 179,020 rand 92 cents. Then we got a quotation for the concrete, and we needed 129 cubes of concrete, and the strength was 25 MPa, and the unit price for each cube was 1,444 rand 38, and that worked out to 186,841 rand 2 cents before VAT. After VAT, it was 214,867 rand 17, And then we had to pay for the pump establishment, which was 7,513 rands before VAT. With VAT, 8,639 rand 95 cents. And then for the pump rate, which was 15,867 rands before VAT. After VAT, 18,247 rands 5 cents. So the total quote for the concrete came to a total of 241,754 rand 17 cents. So yeah, this was actually quite a big pour because we needed 129 cubes of concrete, and a truck takes about 6 cubes of concrete. So this would mean that this concrete was delivered in 21 loads. So yeah, guys, the reason I'm telling you this is because if you are going to be paying anything in cash, you need to negotiate. Cash is king, guys. So cash gives you the power to negotiate. Do not just pay whatever they are quoting you. I know that some companies are very stingy with discounts, but yeah, try your best where you can. As you can see, I eventually paid about 204,000 for this concrete. I really worked my butt off and I negotiated hefty on this one. And that was because we had already poured with them before. And because I was a repeat customer, there was no way I was going to pay that money. There was just no way, guys. So yeah, always, always, always negotiate. So now that I've given you background and I've shown you some of the costs, let's go to site so that I can show you how everything came together. And then when we come back, I will show you our final costs because there were other costs as well. So I will show you the total cost for our slab. So let's go to site. So now let's talk about the costs we incurred to get the slab done. I won't lie to you guys, this is a big number, and this was definitely the most expensive part of our home building process after the foundation. Here's a breakdown of everything we've spent to get the slab done. So we spent 156,504.51 for our slab steel reinforcement, and then 208,243.13 was paid to Nhleko Scaffolding and Formwork, which included the formwork hire, the transport, and a refundable deposit. And then 23,546.89 for slab materials from Buco. This was for things like plastic sheeting, tying wires, spacers, and so on. And then 204,158.92 was for the cost of the ready mix concrete from 3Q Concrete. And then we had smaller but necessary costs like 1,400 for local transport, 3,226 for plumbing pipes that had to be cast in the slab, and then 6,350 for all the electrical conduits and boxes that were laid before casting. 5,195.70 went to sterling profiles for columns and base plates. Then we had some labor costs, which was 2,000 for the plumber, 3,000 for the electrician, and then 60,000 went to the labor for the labor provided by On Time Projects. Shout out to Henry and his team. They did an amazing job. And then smaller expenses like nails, binding wire, and hiring talisman equipment also added up. So keep in mind that we did get a refund of 72,788 from Nhleko once their equipment was safely returned. So when you total everything up, the full cost of the slab came to 610,229.15. So yeah, this gives you a realistic picture of what to expect when doing a cast in-situ slab for a double-story home. As you can see, once again, the power of cash. I ended up paying only 156,000 at NJR. So once again, I managed to negotiate a hefty discount there. And guys, I always buy my materials at Buco because they've got a nice discount system. I don't know if it's just the Buco here in Middleburg, but I'm assuming it's everywhere. So I always go and compare with other shops, but I always end up at Buco. They've got a brilliant discount system there. And I don't know how they work it out, but their prices always work out much cheaper. So yeah, guys, when you are paying in cash, remember that cash gives you power, and especially where large amounts of money is involved. Always negotiate. So guys, I just want to encourage you to also comment and share your costs if you are comfortable with sharing, because that also helps me and the channel, people that are following the building journey and people that are building their own houses, just to see if the costs, are real or are we being ripped off. So I recently got a comment. So this person says the In-Situ code was a ripoff, which I fully agree. We paid 379,227.70 for a 259 square meter, including floating stairs, completed last week. This means that it is 1,465 per square meter. Pay labor for shuttering, separate, and buy own concrete and steel, which is exactly what we've done. So 610,229 rand 15 cents divided by 439 square meters, which is the size of our slab. So that means that we are at 1,390 rand per square meter. So that is the cost per square meter for those of you that might want to know what is the slab costing us per square meter. So at 1,390 per square meter, I'm glad that our slab costs are actually in line with what other people are paying out there. Thank you so much for sharing that. That really helped with an actual comparison. So yeah, guys, that is how we tackled the most brutal phase of our building journey, guys. From choosing the In-Situ slab option to finding the right team and navigating hefty costs. We got through it, guys. We got through it. It wasn't easy, it wasn't cheap, but it was so worth it because now we've got a strong custom design slab that supports our vision for this home. Guys, if you are in this phase of your home build, hang in there, don't give up. Ask questions, get multiple quotes, and always work with people who know exactly what they're doing. I hope that this video has given you some clarity and has helped you understand what really goes into this part of the building process. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, please give the video a big thumbs up. If you are following our journey, please subscribe to the channel. Please click that notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. And until then, guys, please keep building your dream brick by brick. Thank you for watching until this far. Bye.